candidate, graduate of the United States Military Academy, Dave McCormick.
All right, look at that great crowd. Thank you. All right. So I was just thinking on the way up here, who's ready to fire Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and get President Donald Trump back in the White House? And who's ready to have some real leadership in the Senate in Pennsylvania and fire Bob Casey and send Chuck Schumer packing? I'm ready. Hey, listen, we have been saying forever, all of us old-timers remember, every election, this is the most important election of your lifetime, right? We hear it every time. But I want to tell you, this is it. Think about it. Think of an election in your lifetime where the consequences of getting it wrong were so great. Where the America we love will slip away if we continue down this crazy path with these radical, liberal, Marxist policies and this weak leadership. This is the most important election of my lifetime. This is it right here, friends. And thank you for doing your part. Listen, I thought about not running again. You know, I was going to go, I'm almost an empty nester. I got 6 daughters. Thought I'd get on with my life. But every time I started to think about it, I said, listen, if you believe America is the greatest country in the face of the earth, right? Do you believe that?
Yeah.
And you believe that you've been blessed by America. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
And you believe America's in trouble. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
And you believe you can do something about it. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Then you got to do it, right? You got to get in the arena. Thank you, all of you, for being in the arena. Everybody up on this stage is in the arena to save our country, to get things back on track. But we got to do it now. We've got 10 more days. And the choice could not be more clear. It's a choice between strength. The guy you saw on the stage at Butler saying, fight, 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 right? And the weakness that we've seen under Biden and Harris, where nobody around the world fears America when they think America's weak and our adversaries are testing us. It's a choice between common sense policies. It's common sense not to have so much spending, reckless spending, you drive up prices by more than 20%. It's killing working Pennsylvanians. 60% of Pennsylvanians live paycheck to paycheck. It's common sense that if you're sitting on top of the 4th largest natural gas reserves in the world, you got to drill, you got to have pipelines, you got to go get that natural gas. It's good for our economy. It's good for our environment. It's good for our security. Right? It's common sense. You got to secure our border. You're not a country if you have 10 million people pouring across our border, a fentanyl crisis that's killing 4,000 Pennsylvanians last year, right? 200 people on the terrorist watch list. 28,000 convicted murderers and convicted rapists knowingly let in our country. It's common sense. You got to secure our border, right? It's common sense. And it's common sense that the best way to have peace is through the kind of strength that President Trump had, the strong military and the willingness to use it. That's how you avoid sending our men and women into combat, because you have such lethality, such power, such strength that your opponents, your adversaries, don't want to test you. That's what this election's about. But we can't send President Trump to Washington alone without a majority in the Senate and a majority in the House. And I want to tell you about my race, okay? So the guy I'm running against, I didn't even say anything yet. The guy I'm running against, I call him, I don't mean this disrespect, I call him Punxsutawney Bob, okay? Now, my mom is from Punxsutawney, so I can do that. And we don't see Bob Casey, even in this area, you only see him 6 months before every election. He only pops his head out at election time. He tries to act like he's doing a lot of work, and then he puts his head back down, right? So I'm running against a career politician, 30 years in elected office, and this guy's weak, right? When the bullets start flying, this guy ducks. But he votes 98% of the time with Biden and Harris, right? He votes for sanctuary cities. He votes against the wall. He votes for all this crazy spending and subsidies. He votes to make sure you have to buy electric vehicles rather than a combustion engine, right? He even voted for males to be able to compete in women's sports. Does that sound like Pennsylvania to you? And he's running against the guy who's a 7th-generation Pennsylvania. I grew up in Bloomsburg, right? That's not too far, right? And I played football and wrestled in places like Shikellamy and Shikshitty and Selinsgrove and North Schuylkill. I baled hay. I trimmed Christmas trees. I worked at the McGee Hotel. Anybody ever go to the groaning board at the McGee Hotel? All right, you're looking at the #1 busboy at the McGee Hotel. I was a paper boy, and I went to West Point where I wrestled, was a co-captain of the team, Ranger School, 82nd Airborne Division, tour in Iraq, and then I came back to Pennsylvania, and I'm a political outsider, and I'm going to Washington to shake things up. We got to get rid of the career politicians. We got to change the direction of our country. We got to fight to get America back on track. And I want to tell you all, we can't do it alone. This depends on you. The Keystone State, this is not an exaggeration. What happens in the Keystone State will determine the direction of our country. If you elect President Trump, if you elect me, it's going to change the direction of our country. So you've got to take this seriously. You've got to get out the vote. You got to vote early. You got to tell your friends, and not just Republicans, right? Democrats, independents. They are affected by this same weakness, these same terrible policies, right? We got to get our country back on track. And as I said, I'm a wrestler. When I wrestled in college, right, I wasn't the best wrestler, but I always knew if I could get into the third period within a point or two, I'd win. Because the third period, we're in the third period right now. The third period's not about wrestling. The third period's about mental toughness. Third period's about heart. Third period's about offense every minute. The third period is about putting it all out on the mat till the very last second when the whistle blows. And if we do that, Pennsylvania, if we do that right here in this great Commonwealth, we're going to change the direction of America. We're going to save our country. So thank you for what you're doing. I'm counting on you. And I couldn't be more grateful for your support and honored to be your nominee. And I think it's my job, Morgan. Is it my job? I think it's my job. So I'm sort of like the warm-up band for the Rolling Stones. You know what I mean?